Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the unseen Utterance. As the year draws to a close and the nights grow longer, we thank you for listening to the whispers that linger in the dark. May this holiday season bring you warmth, curiosity, and just enough mystery to keep the shadows alive. In the coming year, may you continue to walk with us beyond the veil where silence speaks and unseen voices tell their stories. Stay curious. Stay in the dark. See you in the next whisper.
The last heartbeat in Lumot Village. I'm not sure if these words will ever reach anyone, or if they're just the final whispers of a man who's already vanished into the shadows. My name is Mateo Cruz. I'm 26 years old, and I used to think I was the most rational person in the world. I grew up in Manila, studied medicine at a prestigious university where science was the only truth that mattered. Superstitions, they were just jokes for the backward folk. But now, sitting in this dim room with a flickering candle about to die out, I'm not so certain anymore. My story starts with a simple assignment. I was dispatched to a remote village in central Philippines to investigate a mysterious epidemic. It was 2020, when the world was drowning in COVID-19. But here, death came in a different way, silently, in sleep, without a trace. I thought I'd be there for a few weeks, collecting data, then head home. But Lumot, that village, swallowed me whole in ways no medical textbook ever prepared me for. Let me tell it from the beginning, as if we were sitting by a fireside and I'm sharing a secret no one wants to hear. I arrived in Barangay Lumot on a rainy afternoon in July 2020. The jeepney's windows were smeared with fine droplets, blurring the scenery outside. The red dirt road leading into the village twisted through endless fields of sugarcane, where the leaves rustled like the murmurs of 1,000 souls. Surrounding it all were dense coconut groves, tall trees blocking out the sun, creating a humid, oppressive atmosphere. The village had only about 200 households, homes scattered sparsely, mostly bamboo huts with thatched roofs, separated by hundreds of meters. Electricity came on from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., courtesy of an old generator that hummed like labored breathing. After that, darkness enveloped everything, and fog from the fields rolled in, turning the red dirt path into a hazy trail leading to another world. When the jeepney stopped, the silence hit me like a wall. No children laughing, no dogs barking echoing through the air, not even insects buzzing, though dusk hadn't fallen yet, just the wind whispering through the coconut leaves, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant smoke from cooking fires. The village elder, Mang Pedro, a man in his 60s with a wrinkled face and deep-set eyes, met me at the entrance. He wore a faded shirt, mud-stained jeans, and carried a bamboo staff. "Welcome to Lumot, Mateo," he said in a hoarse voice, as if the words were stuck in his throat. "But remember, after dusk, lock your windows tight, and never look in a mirror after midnight." I brushed it off with a smile, chalking it up to local folklore. I'd heard about Philippine legends, Aswang shape-shifting creatures that could pose as humans, sucking blood or devouring organs, active at night, or manananggal monsters that severed their lower bodies to fly. To me, they were fairy tales to scare kids. I was a community health worker, trained to believe in viruses, bacteria, and hard data. I had a history of insomnia from my student days. Long nights cramming had made me used to sleeplessness, and I always carried my stethoscope to check my own heartbeat when anxiety crept in. It was a comforting habit, reminding me I was in control of my body. Mang Pedro led me to a small hut, serving as a temporary clinic. It was basic: a thatched roof, dirt floor, a wooden table, some plastic chairs, and a cabinet with essential meds like antibiotics and vitamins. "You'll stay here," he said, pointing to a corner with a bamboo bed and an old mosquito net. "Your job is to document the deaths. Don't dig too deep." I nodded, unpacking my things: notebook, pens, blood pressure cuff, and stethoscope. There was no mirror in the room hard, but I didn't think much of it then. The first day passed normally. I visited a few households, noting details about the mysterious epidemic that started in 2018 after a massive storm. Dozens had died in their sleep, faces serene as if in sweet dreams, no wounds, no external signs. City coroners ruled it sudden cardiac arrest from unknown causes, but the villagers whispered about Aswang. They said Aswang didn't kill outright, but marked victims, stopping their hearts in dreams. "They live among us," an old woman named Tita Maria told me, her voice trembling. "By day, like normal people. By night, they show their true form." I didn't believe it, but I documented diligently. In the evening, when the power kicked on, the village gained a bit of life. Radios crackling with news, the smell of rice cooking on open fires. But after 10 p.m., When the generator died, darkness fell like a heavy curtain. I sat by candlelight, writing reports, and noticed the unnatural quiet. Dogs didn't bark actually. There weren't many dogs in Lumot, and the few there were huddled silently under houses, as if afraid. Insects fell silent, no crickets chirping or mosquitoes humming. Just the wind, and occasionally the rustle of sugarcane leaves from afar. I met Aling Rosa on the second day. She lived alone in a small hut about 50 meters from the clinic, down a narrow red dirt path. Aling Rosa was around 50 to 55, with tanned skin, hair neatly bun in a bun. Always in long-sleeved shirts and skirts, despite the scorching sun. She was known as the kindest person in the village, helping neighbors, cooking porridge for sick kids, sharing vegetables from her backyard garden. When I knocked, she opened the door with a warm smile, revealing even white teeth. "You're the new doctor. Come in, I'll brew some ginger tea to warm you up." We sat on bamboo chairs in her home. The place was simple: dirt floor, bamboo walls, a wooden table with wildflowers in a vase, and a few old photos on the wall but no mirrors. She brewed the tea, the spicy ginger scent filling the air, and we talked. "This village used to be bustling, you know," she said in a soothing voice, like a lullaby. "But after the 2018 storm, everything changed. People dying in their sleep, hearts stopping for no reason. City doctors say it's illness, but we know it's them." I asked what them meant, and she shook her head. "Don't ask too much, Mateo. Just lock up early, and avoid mirrors at night." I checked her health as routine: blood pressure, respiration, heart sounds, everything normal, except one small thing. Her skin was unnaturally cold, even in the midday heat. When I touched her wrist to check her pulse, it felt like touching chilled stone. "You're quite cold," I joked, keeping my tone light. She smiled. "Old age, poor circulation. Don't worry about it." Her heartbeat was slow, about 50 beats per minute, lower than average, but still acceptable. I noted it down, attributing it to age or poor diet. From then on, I settled into Lumot's rhythm. Days were spent visiting patients, measuring temperatures, reviewing records, interviewing families of the deceased. The stories were eerily similar. Victims went to bed fine, didn't wake up, faces pale but peaceful. No poisoning signs, no clear pathologies. I sent reports back to Manila via phone. The signal was weak but workable. Nights, I wrote by candlelight, but insomnia hit harder. I'd lie awake on the bamboo bed, hearing my own heartbeat crystal clear. Thump thump, thump thump. It echoed in my ears, louder than ever, as if the entire village had only one heart left, mine. I tried explaining it scientifically. Maybe the humid air or work stress. I'd press my stethoscope to my chest, checking. Normal, 70 to 80 beats per minute. But why so loud? Like a drum rising from the ground, blending with the wind outside the window. One night, in my second week, I woke to an odd sound. A small crack, like someone's joints popping as they moved slowly on the porch. I sat up, heart racing, grabbed my flashlight, and shone it out the window. Nothing, just thick fog blanketing the red dirt road, turning shapes into ghosts. But I felt watched a pair of invisible eyes boring into my back. The next morning, I asked Mang Pedro about the noise. He shook his head, avoiding my gaze. "Don't go out at night, Mateo. That's the Aswang. They move with cracking joints because their bodies aren't truly human." I laughed it off, but started paying more attention. Villagers locked up tight by dusk, no one out after 8 p.m. They avoided mirrors after midnight because mirrors show the truth, but the truth can kill you. The clinic had a small mirror on the wall for patient checks, but I used it sparingly. Aling Rosa became my most frequent contact. She'd bring food, hot chicken, adobo, or homemade bibingka with grated coconut. "You're getting thin. Eat up to stay strong," she'd say, her voice maternal. We talked more. She shared her past. Born in Lumot, husband, died young from being marked, no children. She was always alert at night. I'd see her up late, weaving nets under an oil lamp on her porch, eyes sharp in the dark. But daytime, she slept deeply, like the dead. Once, I visited at noon. I knocked forever before she stirred, eyes red-rimmed, as if she'd cried in her dreams. "I dreamed of my husband," she whispered. "He said this village is running out of real people. The oddities built up like nighttime fog." I systematically checked villagers' body temperatures. Most normal, Piwe, -37 degrees Celsius, but some like Aling Rosa, Mang Pedro, and a few others were lower, 35 degrees Celsius, even 34.5 degrees Celsius. I thought measurement error, but my thermometer was accurate, and heart rates, in them, slow to near non-existence. 40 beats per minute, sometimes less. Standing close, I heard no heartbeat, just an eerie silence, like beside a statue. I noted it, sent reports, but Manila's response was just continue monitoring. Psychological fear crept in. One night, I woke to the heartbeat sound. Not mine, or was it? It echoed through the room, growing louder, like war drums from afar. I bolted up, sweating coldly, flashing my light around. No one, but glancing in the small mirror, I brought it to my room for shaving. I saw something behind me in the reflection, a tall, hazy figure with red-rimmed eyes, turning. Nothing. I blamed sleep deprivation hallucinations, but from then, I avoided mirrors. At night, the watched feeling intensified, like someone outside the window, breathing softly. I pressed Oling Rosa about Aswang more directly. We sat over afternoon tea, sun filtering through coconut leaves. Aswang aren't monsters like you think, she said calmly. They live among us, replacing people bit by bit. By day, like anyone, eating, talking, but at night, they show cold skin, cracking joints, no heartbeat. They don't fully reveal if undetected, but if you see, they mark use of your heart in dreams. I asked how she knew so much. She smiled sadly. Because I've been here a long time. Tension built like a string about to snap. Insomnia was constant. My heartbeat clearer than ever, sometimes racing to chest pain. Nights brought more cracked sounds from joints moving outside, sometimes with whispers like ancient local lullabies. I started journaling everything to stay sane. One midnight, I couldn't resist, peering in the mirror to check my face-pale skin, dark circles. But in the reflection, my eyes weren't mine. They were red-rimmed, and behind, a familiar face, Oling Rosa, but twisted, cold-skinned, mouth grinning with pointed teeth. I panicked, shattering the mirror. The next day, I tried staying composed, continuing work, but everything changed that fateful night. Around 1 a.m., I woke with a headache and decided to check on Oling Rosa. She'd complained of fatigue earlier. I knocked, flashlight trembling. She opened quickly, eyes wide awake, no sleepiness. Mateo, emergency, I pretended. Let me check your heart, just to be sure. Inside, she lay on her bamboo bed. I pressed the stethoscope to her chest, hands shaking. Nothing. No heartbeat. No breath. Absolute silence. Like listening to void. My heart pounded, echoing in my ears. What's wrong with you? I stammered, voice breaking. She opened her eyes, staring unblinking, red-rimmed, gleaming under the flashlight. You've seen it now, Mateo. Soon you'll be like us. I fled to my room, bolted the door, heart like a hammer. Morning, I checked village medical records, my meticulous papers. Holding them up, I peered through the clinic's window glass for better light in the sun. Everyone's names reflected clearly. Mang, Pedro, Tita Maria, Oling Rosa, but mine, Mateo Cruz, didn't reflect. As if I didn't exist, or had been erased from reality. From then, chaos like an unending nightmare. I realized, Aswang don't kill brutally. They replace people, slowly claiming bodies, souls. Those without heartbeats aren't monsters, they're the chosen, replaced. Cold skin because blood doesn't flow truly. Cracking joints from changing bodies. Deep daytime sleep because nights are for activity. And me, I'm hearing a heartbeat, but is it mine? Or the last one in the village, before replacement? I tried leaving, called for a jeepney, but none came. Fog thickened the road into a maze. Villagers eyed me strangely, like an outsider. Oling Rosa still brought food, but her smile was different, knowing, with gleaming white teeth under candlelight. Now, I sit here, scribbling these final lines in the dark, the heartbeat echoing thump-thump. But if my heart isn't beating, then who's hearing this sound?